Course is going to be about myth busting. So there's a lot of rumors going around, right? A lot of things you hear, a lot of things that you think make sense or might make sense or whatnot, you know, and I feel like, you know, a lot of people mean well, but you know, it's not appropriate for every setting. It doesn't fit for every child. So let's just go over a couple of things that just to basically clear your mind and put your mind at ease in terms of what you're doing, how you're approaching potty training, and you know, all that. So the first one, you want to make sure your child is speaking before you start potty training. So the thing about that is that not all children speak at the same rate, at the same you know, period of time, at the same moment of time. That's not how it works, you know. There's a broad spectrum of when children start speaking, you know, and some children are late speakers, you know, they start speaking at a later time. My youngest, my 5th child, he didn't start speaking till he was 2.5 years old, and he was potty trained by 23 months and completely night trained by 24 months. So you know, it's just false. If your child can communicate with you through nonverbal communication, if they can do one-step commands and make their needs met and wants to please you, so basically if everything else is going the way it's supposed to go in terms of their development, then their actual verbal language is not necessary for you to potty train. And the biggest thing about the way I teach is that, you know, a lot of people are confused between, you know, potty training and actually starting to potty teach, which is two, you know, different things. You should be, in my opinion, teaching toileting habits from a very young age. And that's, you know, the basis of what I teach, that you want to take it in like gradual like steps, you know, and you most definitely don't need to wait to start teaching toileting habits until your child is speaking. That is 100% like no. Active training, you can proceed with active training even if your child is not speaking as well. So basically, if your child is nonverbal but they can make their needs met and are able to communicate in a nonverbal way, you can continue with this course like, you know, the whole course like everybody else. The same goes if your child is on the spectrum or your child has any other learning disabilities, but A, is able to make their needs met, and 2, can communicate with you in other ways, then we are absolutely good. You can continue with this course like every other neurotypical child, okay? So I want to nip that in the bud. So the next one is your child should be able to dress and undress themselves. So that's another thing. There are children who have poor muscle tone, you know, and it has nothing to do with their capabilities. They are more than capable of doing everything else, but they're just a little, you know, they need a little bit more strength in their coordination and their motor tone, and getting dressed and undressed can be difficult. I'll give you my my 4-year-old son, for example. He just recently, maybe like 6 months ago or so, maybe when he was like 3.5 years old, started effectively dressing and undressing himself. I always had to have him like elastic bands, you know, I couldn't have him with jeans or anything like that, and putting his shirt over his head and taking it off when he's gonna take a shower. He needed assistance. Like I needed to like kind of like lift it up a little bit. I would always encourage him to do it. And again, my child was potty trained. He was potty trained at 23 months. So same thing with pants, you know? So it would start like but he would communicate with me. So what happens is these children will communicate with you when they need to go to the bathroom. So you could assist them with their pants. So then, you know, I know you have parents who'll be like, well, they imagine potty training like, it's almost like a little fairy tale in their mind, you know, that they train their child and their child will become like us, like completely independent like us, but you know, kind of like not tell you when they're going, go on their own, and you know, like every other adult out there, but it's a fairy tale. It's not really what happens. That's not real life. They gradually get there. It takes time, months, sometimes years for them to get independent like us, that you don't know when they go or if they've gone. You know, they're so independent that they don't tell you anymore. They just, you know, go when they need to go, wipe themselves, you know, flush, the whole 9 yards. That takes time, months, years sometimes. So that fantasy that, you know, I need them to be able to pull their pants down and bring them back up, because in your mind you don't want to be bothered. Once they need to go to the bathroom, they should just go, you know, wipe themselves, clean their hands, dry their hands, and, you know, continue on their daily routine. But again, it's a fantasy. You're their parents, so you're there to guide them and assist them. So I want to like gear you back. You know, just right now you're changing their diapers, you're cleaning, you're you know, buying these diapers, you're making sure you pack them. This is work that you're doing already. So just to clear your mind, if they need assistance pulling their pants down and bringing them back up, but they are effectively toilet trained or potty trained, and they just need you to do that, is that really a big deal? If they're not there yet, they will get there. And you know, when you're assisting them, you know, do the assistance hand over hand, you know, get them there, get them to become independent dressing themselves. You know, put your hand over their hand, help them in any way you can, but try to get them to do most of the work, because they probably just need a little bit of your assistance. So that's that with dressing and undressing. Okay, so number 3, starting early is forcing a child to be potty trained. So I want to disconnect that. Teaching toileting habits early and deconditioning them from diapers to independence is not forcing a child. Forcing a child is forcing a child. You know, verbal abuse, forcibly sitting them down to pee, not letting them get up until they pee, you know, screaming, yelling, you know, strong discipline. That is forcing a child. Don't think that because you're watching this video right now, and let's say your baby's 10 months or 12 months old, and you're getting that feedback from people on the outside saying, oh, you're forcing. You can't force if you're just teaching and assisting your child along. That's never gonna be forcing. You know, when you think of force, it's a different physical approach, right? So I just want to put your mind at ease. You're okay, and we're gonna take you through this process, and your child is gonna be completely potty or toilet trained without a problem. Okay. Number 4, starting early will psychologically mess up your child. You know, you will damage them in some way. So this is the thing, just until like 1956, most children in America were potty trained before the age of 2. Successfully potty trained before the age of 2. That was the normal thing for around 1956 and, you know, earlier. Not to mention all the other parts of the world who still to this day successfully have their children potty and toilet trained by the early age of 18 months. So if that were true, that means that there's a lot of us out there that are psychologically and physiologically messed up. Like our whole life is messed up just because of potty training. Again, if you practice strong corporal punishment, verbal abuse, physical abuse over the whole toileting process and potty process, then yes, that act will psychologically damage your child, right? But that's not what we're doing. You teaching at an early age in a loving and gradual and basically assisting your child to be able to practice toileting habits on their own is not abuse in any type of way. There's probably a list of myths out there when it comes to potty training that hits the floor right now, but I'm not going to take up all of your time. I think these are the main ones to get you focused and to convince you that you are doing the right thing. You're here, you're their parent. Your job is to you know, teach them, love them, and get them on the right path. And we're gonna do it in such a nice format that you know, it's not gonna be a stressful situation at all. So there it is. So this is myth busting on this module, and now we can go to the next. See ya.